It's your body. You rock it, empower it, and you take care of it. CSU Health Network is here to answer your questions. Welcome to the CSU Health Chat. CSU Health Chat is a program paid for by the CSU Health Network. All content is controlled by the CSU Health Network.
Hello and welcome to another installment of the CSU Health Chat. I'm Matt Freeman and I'm glad to be joined again by Dr. Benn and Pam McCracken from the CSU Health Network. Thanks for being here, guys.
Oh yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Great.
It's always a pleasure. And today's topic is kind of a new technology that's progressing. It's sexting, and it's sex without actual physical communication. It's becoming really popular, and I'm kind of out of the loop. I feel maybe a little old. I don't know what's going on with me.
Oh, if you're old, yeah. Well,
trouble.
let me tell you, we're the experts.
Can you guys tell me for people out there who don't know, what is sexting?
Well, I think for me, a lot of it, it could be a wide variety of things. It could be, having phone sex to really trying to establish a relationship without that kind of intimacy, without that connection. And I don't know, it is a weird phenomenon. On one hand, it's easy. You got your little phone right there. It can get your rocks off or whatever. And on the other hand, it's a little scary.
I think it's one of the most fun things ever. You pick up your phone, you got somebody you're interested in. Instead of calling and asking if you want to meet for coffee or see a movie, you text something that's really fun and playful. And I think it's great foreplay, actually. It's a neat way to start a connection with someone who may not know you at all to begin with. And it's kind of like walking slowly down the road to where you eventually hope to be.
Right,
and that's in maybe a committed relationship. I think it's what we're all really looking for.
Sure.
I think it's important, though, that there's maybe an understanding between the people that are involved and what exactly do I mean by this, and how many other people am I sexting, by the way? Is it just you, or is it 12 people and
Probably
I send
12.
my one message? Exactly.
You and your buddies,
right?
right?
You and everybody, and then I'm sharing what you just said with someone else. So there's that. I agree. It has a great potential for foreplay, and
Sure. I think everything's blessing and curse. It could be used terribly. I know people who send naked pictures of each other through the phone, and I don't think that's technically sexting, but you can get in big trouble with that. You have no idea once you send it out to the universe of technology where it's going to go.
It's there.
Right, and that seems to be a big deal in today's, ease of use and all these technologies. People are sending information that they should probably keep a little more sacred, I guess we could say, and they're just putting it on Facebook or, texting it to other people, and then it's not yours anymore.
It becomes public domain, and even though they say they can get rid of it, there's ways that you can always sort of find something. I think people, you just have to be savvy, and you have to be careful, and you probably don't want to be sexting when you're loaded either.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Be judicious about what you send, especially when you're high or drunk, because you're going to say things you wouldn't typically say, and it can come back to haunt you. There's no question. But the other side of it for me is that this is fun. It's another way to communicate. We're looking for ways to connect all the time, and for me, this is just a new way to say, hey, I'm interested in you. I'd like to get to know you. I'd like to play with you. Rather than calling somebody, to me, that's very risky, to call you directly on the phone and hear that rejection or have you be stuck on the spot. When you get a text, you have time to respond. You don't have to respond immediately, so it gives us a chance to kind of connect in a pace that I think is actually slower in some ways than the phone call used to be.
Right. Although I still think it doesn't replace that face-to-face.
Oh, gosh, no.
So, you do eventually, hopefully, have to see that person, or you want to see that person, and you're sitting across from them, and you have to, learn about reading body language and what exactly does this mean, and, sexting's fun, but does that mean I really want to be intimate with you? And what does that mean?
Right.
And I think that's the other thing that we're looking at. I don't want to say your generation, but I think it's a little bit more than our generation, is that whole idea of sex without intimacy. So I may choose to meet you for lunch for a quickie, but you know what? That's it. I'm not going to have dinner with you. I'm not having a relationship with you. You're not being introduced to my friends. And, we're just having a sexual, I don't even know if I want to use relationship. Yeah, it's kind of like just doing the nasty and seeing you later.
Right, but for me it's about clear communication, clear and accurate communication in which I'm saying, here's where I am, where are you? And negotiating that communication to discuss what this relationship is going to be. Are we going to have a relationship, or is this just going to be physical? Are we just going to play? What are we going to do? And I do that in every relationship that I have, really, and I encourage people to do it in relationships that may become sexual, even more so than in the casual ones. Like if I was calling you, Matt, as a heterosexual man and saying, hey, dude, you want to go to a movie? Yeah, what movie you going to? What time do you want to go? Are we going to eat first? Are we going to have a drink first? Are we going to bring food in? What are we going to do? We negotiate the whole thing. Who's driving? But with sex, we don't negotiate that way, and I think this gives us another forum to negotiate and make ourselves clearer, as long as we're being clear about what it is we want.
But I think that I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No,
but I'm thinking that you're an advanced man, Mark.
Wow.
You
Well,
know,
you know,
and I'm thinking,
and I've been waiting
I'm
years for you to
told,
notice that, so I must not be too advanced.
Finally, it's happened.
It's like, right? It's like, wow, it's only taken 100
But I think that's
years.
the
No.
message to young
Yeah,
folks.
but they're also at that point where I don't know. I mean, I'm working with 19, 20, 25-year-olds that sometimes that's a real foreign concept. It's easier to take a roll in the hay than sit down and talk about what it means. And it's easier to close the door and run out and not have to communicate with you either than sit down and talk about what that means.
And the consequences are much greater. Therefore, it's incumbent upon us as educators to sit here and say, hey, communicate more effectively. Because the consequences around sex can be life and death if we really want to get dramatic here. Certainly emotional stress of having a relationship with a person, filling myself up because my self-esteem is low and feeling worse the next day. So the idea that this is going to help me feel better and it makes me feel worse, maybe we need to start to connect these things and say, what's missing here?
Is it, all this stuff, right? I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, who would want to have sex anyway?
Oh, are you kidding me? It's the most fun thing ever. Everyone.
Yeah,
the answer is everyone.
Exactly. So everyone does, so we have to communicate about it
and learn
right from the get-go.
That's
and
right.
that takes practice, I think, and it takes skills, and you're not going to be great at it the first time, so the more you do it, the better off it is, the more you communicate with your partner. But, okay, so what about this whole friends with benefits? I mean, that stuff comes up, and, you know, I'm an advocate of, yeah, I think you can go into it with good intention, but I think ultimately it really doesn't work the way you hope it will.
Well, one person always seems to want more than the other.
Sure.
But now I'm back to negotiation. Let's talk about what I want. Here's what I want. I want a physical relationship with you. I'm not really looking for a girlfriend. Okay. How about you? And you might say, that's not what I'm up for.
I don't want a physical relationship,
but I want a boyfriend. And I would say, you know what? Let's walk down the road. Are you? I just got propositioned on television. It's the first time.
We work together.
Oh, shit. So, you know, for me, it's about being clear about what I want. Because in the friends with benefits, one person always seems to want a relationship.
Yep.
And the other person seems to just want sex. Well, we better talk about that so we both know what contract we're signing when we get in bed.
Well, and I'm also thinking that whole phenomenon of your, you know, OxyContin when you have sex, just flooding your brain and flooding your endorphins, that for about 72 hours you're thinking that this person is just the ultimate person for me. And after that, I think it sort of ebbs and flows a little bit, and that feeling and those things sort of subside. So you almost have to give yourself a chance to think about what it means. But, you know, it's like I say to myself, this is great to talk about. But that initial time to talk about it can be really scary. And a lot of times what we find is that people, it's easier under the influence, which is not the time that you really want to talk about it. And, you know, when we're drinking or whatever, our inhibitions are lessened and we're feeling a lot more sexy and amorous and thinking, woohoo, baby, look at me. So it's talking about it ahead of time. And it's, you know, for me, I know it's not that easy. It's going to take, you know, and for young people especially, it's how do we engage in that conversation and know that it's okay on both sides. You know, that you're going to be respected and appreciated for engaging in that dialogue.